Hey subscribers, you can see hopefully in the background that I have two machines sitting on my workbench. One over here is a Spartan, 192K is the other badge mark that it's known by, was made by Singer. And then just to the left of it, its illustrious partner is the 99K. Both of these were made in Great Britain. Both of them were made in the 1950s to 1960s. The 99K has a slightly wider span as far as its manufacturing time period, but for sake of argument, let's just say that both machines were made in that time period, the 1950s to 1960s. They're oftentimes associated with each other because they have a lot of similarities. As a matter of fact, the argument oftentimes I see in the blogs and other folks writing on the internet is they're basically identical machines. This is just the poor man's version because it doesn't have the fancy decaling, the filigree work, and some of the other bells and whistles. That's not entirely wrong, but it's not entirely right either. These machines have some unique differences. For example, yeah, it's true, the Spartan does not have some of the filigree work that the 99K does. It doesn't have the Singer emblem. It doesn't have some of the other fancy touches that make it a little bit more aesthetically pleasing, at least at a first glance. Although to me, I like the kind of the slim downgraded version of the Spartan from appearance standpoint, because it doesn't have all that busyness that some of the traditional Singers do have. You'll also notice that it doesn't have a light. It's not missing the light, it didn't have a light. And that's why some of the people argue that it's kind of like the downsized version of the 99K. But there was actually a light made for this machine. It was aftermarket, but it works perfectly fine, as you can see. And Mary, who comes from Peoria, Illinois, specifically said, "Scott, when you get my machine ready, could you add a light to it?" Yeah, absolutely, we can do that. So this machine has a light. You can see that right there. It's got a wonderful light that will be more than sufficient to light up that sewing area and the sewing bed for Mary from Peoria, Illinois. So I'm going to shut that light off right now. What are some of the other differences? I'm going to step away from the camera and point some of them out and zoom in on these machines a little bit. One thing that isn't readily apparent when you look at these machines, and I'm going to kind of come in on the Spartan a little bit here. There we go. All right. So on the Spartan, you don't have the benefit of the kickback spring, and I'll show you what that looks like on the 99K. With this one, you got a little bit of a workout. I'm joking, of course. It's actually quite easy. When you're not using this, you rotate it up as you would on some of the other Singer models like the 301, the 401, and I believe the 503. A lot of those machines will have this without the kickback spring. So you rotate it down to the balance wheel to wind the bobbin. When you're not using it, you basically rotate it back up. The other thing that's not, and I'm going to zoom over to the 99 real quick, the K. See if I can get it in my sights there. There we go. So you can see on the 99K, we have the traditional bobbin winding feature of pushing it down and it locks into place on the balance wheel. And when you release it, it kicks back up. That's because there's a spring, actually a series of springs built into here that allow you the luxury of not having to lift it up with your own finger. So everything else on the front of the machine, minus the decaling, is going to be very, very close, if not identical, to the Spartan. The one thing that is not apparent when you go between these two machines is our friends over in England decided, you know what, if we're going to slim down these machines a little bit, in a sense, we're going to give the Spartan a unique advantage. And the unique advantage that the Spartan has, that's not readily apparent when you look at it through the camera, is it has the benefit, and I'm going to kind of lift this up and turn it around. It has the benefit of not a 0.54 amp motor like the majority of the machines that are identified as 99 or 99K. It has, as you can see right here, it has a 0.8 amp motor. So from a performance standpoint, when it comes to this Spartan model, which is a 192K, you've got an advantage because this is going to give you 0.2 amps more than that 99K. Now you might say, okay, Scott, give me a break, man. 0.2 amps, is that really significant? You bet it is. When it comes to power and performance, you're basically talking about adding the equivalent of half of the power that would come with a Singer featherweight to this Spartan that you otherwise would not have. So you're talking again, you're looking at the 192K, also simply known as the Spartan. You've got basically the same functionality, the same features, the same benefits. You've got the same faceplate, you have the same tension control, you've got the same drive system in it as far as the power of the shaft coming off the balance wheel. You basically have all the same functionality of that 99K, but you're gaining that 0.2 amps, plus you're gaining the ease of raising and lowering this without that kickback spring. Why do I say that? Because if I had a nickel for every kickback spring that I had to replace on a machine that I acquired or a machine that came to me for restoration, I would jingle when I walked, because that kickback spring is notorious in applying it, releasing it, applying it, releasing it, applying it, releasing it, of breaking. And it's a pain to replace that kickback spring. Trust me, if you've ever done it. So what the real thing, the real message here is, if you're not driven by needing to have the filigree that you can see here on this 99K in the background, and this, by the way, has not been restored yet. This recently came to me. It's very dirty. It needs a lot of love. But the bottom line is, if you're not concerned about the Singer emblem that's just out of view, if you're not concerned about having the serial number right below the pillar area on the front of the machine, if you're not concerned about the filigree, if you're not concerned about one of these lights that's already pre-mounted on the machine, and all the other accents like that wonderful little kickback spring, then I would strongly encourage you to take a long look at a Spartan. I happen to have another Spartan that's available that is not sold yet, and for that added power, for the simplicity of it, for all the same engineering functionality that you get with the 99K, plus that added 0.2 amps of power, which is like adding basically a half of a featherweight to this 192K to give it that extra oomph that 99K is not going to have. Even after I restore it, it's going to have a lot of power, but it's not going to, you're not going to be able to say, unless I switch out the motor on it, you're not going to be able to say that it has a 0.8 amp like this Spartan. So for all those reasons, plus you get the same foot control. This is the same foot control that comes with a featherweight, the 201, and the majority of the Singer models. That's one thing that they did not step away from with the Spartan. You have that same Bakelite foot control, just as you do on the 99K. So that is a quick glance of how these machines are very similar, and yet they do have those unique differences. The other myth I want to dispel real quick is, I had one person that wrote me that was real staunch in their position, and they came out of New York. I'm not implying anything about New Yorkers. I love New Yorkers. But they said, Scott, you can't claim to know when a Spartan was made. They were made from the 1950s to the 1960s. That's as good as it gets. Well, I beg to differ, because I can tell you exactly when Mary's 192K or her Spartan was born. It was born on February 25th, 1959. No question in my mind. Well, how can I be sure of that? I mean, this other guy wrote with a lot of authority, said he used to repair Singers. He used to work at the Singer plant way back in the day. And he didn't know that on the bottom of the Spartan, excuse me for a second. Oh, these are a little bit heavy. I'm going to try to lift it up and show you exactly where to look. So on the bottom of the Spartan, just on the other side of this crossover bar that's going to actuate a lot of the drive function of the machine is the serial number. Right on the bottom of the machine on the front underside. And I could zoom in on it. Matter of fact, maybe I will. So you can see with your own eyes that there really is a serial number on the bottom of the Spartan machines. Although I don't know how well you'll be able to see it. So I'll try to zoom in on it just so you can see yourself. If anyone's writing on a blog, the internet, or otherwise and saying you can't know what the year of that Spartan model is, well, yeah, you can. Right there. And it's in the same place on Mary's machine. You can go to ISMAX or any of the other great resource sites, look up this serial number, and you'll be able to tell immediately when that Spartan or 192K was born. So enough of the crap on the internet about you can't date the Spartans. There it is right there. The serial number is as clear as day on this machine as it is on Mary's machine. So I don't mean to get passionate or even sound maybe a touch irritated about that, but it is irritating because people will propagate something that absolutely is not true about vintage machines because they don't know any better. Or maybe they do. I don't know. But the bottom line is these are both great machines. I love 99Ks to death. I love 192Ks as well, the Spartan model. They're fantastic machines. They're 3/4 size, so if you're limited with space and you don't have as much space to work with, what a great machine, either one of them, to have on your sewing space. But if you want just a little touch of power and you don't care about the filigree and all the other pretty stuff, I'll tell you, the Spartan is a great pick. And with that point amp motor on there, you're going to be amazed in the later videos of Mary's machine what you see it being able to sew. It's mind-boggling. And again, to highlight something that you may not immediately connect the dots on, when you're looking at 0.8 amps on this Spartan, you're talking about a motor size with more output, more power than the Singer 201. More power, more output than the Singer 1591, because those are both 0.6 amp motors. They're potted motors, granted, but the bottom line is 0.6 amps is 0.6 amps. 0.8 amps is 0.8 amps. So both great machines, wonderful to have them in your collection if you collect machines as I do, or to have it on your sewing table as your workhorse type machine. So I'm going to step away now, let you take a final glance. I'll kind of zoom in on these machines a little bit so you can really admire. Again, remember, this 99K has not been restored or cleaned yet, so it's going to look pretty crusty. The Spartan has a couple of final little touches on it that I'm going to do and then get it shipped off to Mary in Peoria, Illinois. So I won't say go Bears, sorry Mary, but great state, great customers I've had from Illinois as well. So I'm going to step away and let you take a closer look at these great machines, and then watch for those other videos where I'm going to be highlighting what Mary's machine is capable of doing from a sewing standpoint. The other thing I should point out real quick before I do that is the other neat thing about the Singer Spartan that the 99K did not specifically be able to claim is it had a case like the Singer 401, the 301 and other models, a specific case that was made just for this 192K, excuse me. So it's got a wonderful compartment on the side. You can see where the foot control can go, other goodies like that. And I'll be including this case with this 192K that's going to be heading towards Mary either today or tomorrow. So another neat thing I think is having that carrying case, so it has that added portability factor as well. So again, here's a great machine, the Spartan 192K. You've got the same stitch length control center with the back tack and everything else that you have. I can't quite see it because it's a little bit below where that light is, but you've got the same control center. Most of the features and benefits of the machines are going to be virtually identical. Again, Spartan has a little bit more spunk when it comes to the motor size, but either machine, if you're looking for a great machine that is a workhorse, 3/4 size, has incredible power output, either one of these machines has the same power as the Singer 201 and the 201-2. I've got lots of these that I could potentially acquire and restore for you. So reach out, let me know, and I'll get one of these great machines heading towards you as well. So thanks for being a subscriber. Thanks for being a part of this YouTube channel and making it great. God bless you guys, and good sewing this summer. Thanks so much.